love, fear, failure, success, and finally, survival. I've been through them all and came out stronger and healthier. Yeah, I went to a dark place, but talking about it pulled me out. My name is Sandy Crosse, and this is Crosse Conversations.
Hello, hello, hello. We're back with another Crosse Conversation. And as you know, I am Shaunte Says, and I'm sitting here with our illustrious leader and co-host, Sandy. Hi.
Hi, honey.
Oh, I see your smile. What are we going to talk about today?
I am smiling because it's a coming to Jesus type of season for me, I guess.
Okay.
And the reality is of life and new seasons are here. And I just feel like I need to embrace the new season full on. And that means I have to find ways to keep the smile on my face.
Okay.
I have to find ways to just remind myself that I am a gift to this planet.
Okay.
And we all are.
Yes.
As women, especially, we are super gifted.
Okay.
And we seem to forget that. And sometimes we discount that. And I know I do. Mm-hmm. I beat myself up a lot. I think about stuff that I'm just like, well, if I do this, whose feelings am I going to hurt? Or if I do that, we just had a conversation about this. And I'm going to bite the bullet and go for it today. In the next few episodes, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough on me. It's going to be tough probably for some of the people listening to hear. And I know it's going to be tough on, family members or whoever that hears this too. And so I'm just going to jump in.
Okay.
Next few episodes, I'm going to talk about the and I don't want to say it's the bane of my existence, but it's really and truly, I think, what has driven me to be the person who I am. I am told that I'm really super forgiving.
Okay.
Which...
You're like Teflon. You're like, it's all right.
Yeah. I just really believe that you forgive people for your own sanity. Yes, it's because it's a spiritual thing to do. Yes, it's because if they've made amends, if they've apologized or whatever, it's easy to forgive, but you just don't forget. And in the last few weeks, honestly, I've been having flashbacks and dreams. They're not nightmares, but dreams about things that's happened to me in my childhood. That's really driven me to even do this podcast. Like I said, some of it is pretty intense, and I'm going to try not to be too intense, but at the same time, I got to talk about going through puberty. I feel like I'm going through menopause right now, but
oh goodness!
And I keep calling it puberty, but I'm like, I don't think it's puberty, honey.
It's like adult puberty.
It's adult puberty, because you get it going and you get it coming.
That's right. That's right.
It's no joke.
Change. Hot coming in. Hot coming out. So no, what I'm finding interesting though is you mentioned something about dreams and visions coming back and resurfacing. And just from my own personal experience, and it doesn't mean this is the same for you or anyone that's listening, I come to realize that sometimes those things are resurfacing because you never really faced them, or you never really addressed them. You never really released them. And we think we've forgiven, and we really haven't. Because, you said forgiving is easy, and maybe you were just saying that because it sounds like, but it really isn't, right? And I think forgiveness is one of those things. It's like you'll say, I forgive it, but it really takes an effort. It takes a mental thing. It takes some actions, even if it means, taking that situation and sitting something that reminds you of it in a chair and looking at it and say, you know what, I forgive you. And you probably have to do it every day until it really feels like you forgave it and let it go.
That is so true. And it was never my intention to say easy. If those words came out, you should have slapped me.
I know you didn't mean it. I knew what you were getting at, but yeah, it takes effort.
It does take effort, and you're right. You legitimately have to look at a picture or look at
something,
the pillow,
the
or
name,
the cake,
yes,
whatever.
Yes,
like, no, I forgive you, and you're right. It's in an effort to save your sanity.
Yes. To release it, because it's eating away at you, right? You're stressing, you're worried about something, it's making you, it's robbing you of what's present, what's in front of you.
It's robbing you of your joy.
Yeah.
It steals your joy. When you don't forgive,
yep,
it steals your joy. When you do forgive, yeah, it isn't easy.
Doesn't mean it's right.
Effort, but it gives you the power.
Yes. You're taking it back.
It gives you the power. You own your power.
Yes.
And you then use that to propel you to bigger and better things. I'm going to go as far back as I can remember. I've already told you guys about my 7th birthday party when, I was walking by my godmother's son, and he took out his penis and put my hands on it.
Right.
Didn't know what to do with that. Frightened me.
Not at 7. Who would know at 7?
I'm like, it was just like, I still to this day kind of like, how you think something is a dream, but you know for a fact it's not, but maybe you kind of wish it was.
So I have a question for you then. If this still kind of surfaces up and gets the reaction that it's getting, how do you feel about the godson? You said your godmother's son?
Yeah.
Yeah. How
so
do you feel? He's your god brother.
Yeah. I left the country like a year and a half later. And so I never really interacted with him again. I mean, I did,
right,
but it was in a big circle. So I never really had to like go spend the night at their house or go spend a bunch of time with just them again.
Right.
So that's how it never happened. Nothing else ever happened.
So it just,
at least not that I remember.
So it's kind of brushed under the rug, right? It's kind of like, and of course, as we do as busy women, we're like, that happened. Keep it moving, you know.
But
and so
you're 7.
Yeah, but even still, it still has a huge impact on you, right? And you know what I just thought about? The fact is everything happens for a reason, and the timing is not ours, it's God's. Maybe you haven't been able to release it because you're doing this story, like you're sharing this, and now you get to release it in front of everybody, right? So this thing with your 7-year-old situation, you being 7 years old, have you truly forgiven and released it?
No.
Mm-hmm.
No.
And how do you know that? And please let me know if I'm overstepping. I mean,
no, you're not. You're not. It's a tough question, but I honestly know I haven't forgiven him because I never got a chance to have a voice.
Mm-hmm.
As a 7-year-old, a 6-year-old, 7-year-old, you don't know what your choices are. You don't know that you have rights, and in my situation, my parents were living abroad. I was living with my grandmother, and so I wasn't really around this person that much anymore, and so I didn't have a chance to even say to my grandma or say to my mom and dad,
right,
hey, this happened, or is this right, or
right,
so and so. And then too, that's when I honestly think that's when my fear began.
Mm-hmm. And that's highly possible because, you, first of all, like you said, it happened and then some period of time went past and you moved away from it. And so there's probably even parts of your life where you probably even forgot it happened. Like, like you're living and then all of a sudden something reminds you and you're like, oh shit, excuse my French, but oh shit, that really happened. Like, that's not a dream, that really happened. So, you're saying all this about forgiveness is for you.
I want it noted that you said the first curse word.
I did say the first curse word this time. Damn it. I said another one. But, you say this, forgiveness is not for them, it's for you. And there's something that's so far back in your life that you have not forgiven. You've forgiven stuff afterwards, but there's something that's so far back that's still there.
Because, and I just vocalized it for the first time in my entire life because it kind of came full circle. That's where my fear
started.
Mm-hmm. I was always a good student. I was always a good this. I was always the best at that. And then I started doubting myself, being scared of this or being scared of that, or not wanting to talk to people, being to the point where my mom's like, speak up. Well, I went from being,
well, you pointed it out though, right? You said this person robbed you of the knowledge of even having choices. So now you've lived your life, right? You was like you said, scared to speak up, scared to do stuff, and we'll talk about it more, but fast forward to the marriage and, not wanting to speak up and say this isn't right and walking away. Like you subconsciously didn't feel like you had choices.
Right.
And that's been ingrained in you for a long time. No matter how big and, bold you are, there's still that little Sandy from 7 that's like, I don't have choices.
You're gonna make me cry.
No, I don't. I mean, and that's okay if you do, because it's probably necessary. Tears, I told her, we're like boiling pots, and that's just releasing some of the pressure. But again, and you think about it. So now that you've pointed it out, what do you want to do with it?
I know. I obviously, in talking about it now, I'm using my booger paper.
We're laughing and crying at the same time here.
Pardon me, guys.
Well, that just shows this is a real conversation, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it can't get more real and authentic than this. Like, I clearly didn't say, you're going to cry in 11 minutes of this conversation, Sandy. So.
Oh, my God. This is so hard.
It is. But you got this.
I do. In moving away and not facing that and not talking about it, even when I came and was with my parents, not talking about it, I tried to be that person that everybody was like, why are you moody? Mm-hmm. That was the word that was used about me. Mm-hmm. She's so moody. Mm-hmm. And I was never a moody person. Mm-hmm. I was always bubbly. I remember being a kid, my Granny Smith, she was just my life. I love everything about her. So I traveled with her. I did this with her. I did that with her. At church, everything. I was her sidekick. And I was also the oldest of her youngest. Mm-hmm. The firstborn of her youngest. And that was even more special,
You were the babies first.
Yeah.
Okay.
So being treated special was something I kind of got used to. As a matter of fact, I told the kids and I told friends that my birthday being in August, Independence in Jamaica is in August, the day before my birthday.
So it's a big celebration.
My grandmother used to take me to the parades the day before my birthday and say that this is a party for me. They're celebrating me because I'm special. So I grew up thinking my ass was special because of that parade and everything else, because they were doing it for me. Now, fast forward, I discovered it was not true, but I still celebrate it.
It's still for you.
It's still for me. But my family is so tired of hearing that story. I'm like, I don't care. I'm still going to tell it every Independence Day. So just imagine the favorite child, the favorite grandchild.
So let me see if I'm picking this up. So the favorite, and I'm assuming the stuff with the Independence Day, all that happened after the 7-year-old incident, right?
It was before.
Oh, it was before. Whew.
Yeah.
So that knocked you down.
Yeah. Before growing up, until I was about 7, and then I left for America.
That's so pivotal.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
well,
a lot happened in that 7 years of life for me. I was born on the 7th day of the month, the 8th month of the year, but the 7th day of the month.
So you have a very strong foundation, sounds like. And you had something like I don't want to call it a speed bump. It sounds like it was a pothole. It was really, pothole. Yeah, it was a pothole.
It was a pothole.
And
that pothole
caused some serious damage.
Caused what I thought was irreparable damage.
Well, you didn't know, though. At 7, you didn't know. But you knew it wasn't right? You didn't know the magnitude of it. Mm-mm. And it's only as you get older, you're like, holy and I'm going to say it again, holy shit. This happened. We've traded places there. I get to cuss today, you don't, okay?
Thank you.
But yeah, at 7, you're like, this thing happened. I don't know what it is. I don't like it. I don't know if I can tell anybody. Right. This doesn't feel right.
I can't tell. No.
I don't know. I can't tell anyone. I don't even know what happened.
Anybody. Like, what do I say? What do I do?
Right. And it was my fault. Whatever it is, I did it. And you've been carrying that. And I'm here to remind you, and I think you know, but you need to hear it again. It wasn't your fault. It's not your fault.
Why? Why would anyone pick a 7-year-old and ask them to touch their penis? Why me on my birthday? Why would you choose me? What was it that I did? What was it that I said? I was wearing a really pretty green chiffon dress.
Right.
That covered everything.
Right.
So why? And as I've gotten older, I've realized we can't answer why for others. I'm sure he's lived through his torture.
Oh, they usually do.
I'm sure
they don't get away with it.
Yeah, I'm sure know that. If he did it to me, he may have done it to his own children. So I never asked myself why. I blocked all of this stuff out all the way into my 40s.
Yeah.
And living through stuff like this, it's amazing to me. I understand how people go ballistic.
Oh yeah.
I understand when people's like they
ticking
just snapped.
Time bomb.
It's like if you don't get it out, you are ticking time bomb.
I call them landmines because you're walking and you're like, oh, things are good. Boom. What the heck? All I said was, that's a nice green dress. You know what I mean? Like it could be anything that triggers it for you. So I'm curious though. So now that we pointed it out, what does forgiveness look like for him and yourself, right?
Honestly, I don't even know how to get in touch with him if I wanted to say I forgive you. You know what I mean?
Right. That's okay.
But in a sense, now maybe I have consciously or unconsciously saying, you know what, I forgive him. Because if I don't forgive him, I won't be able to move forward. Maybe subconsciously I did it younger. Like, I have to get through this. I can't let this stop me from doing this. I can't let this stop me from doing that. Whenever I was scared of doing something, whenever I was scared of trying something new, whenever I was in a position where I knew it was going to lead to greatness or success or whatever, I think about it. I triple think about it. And I'm just like, what if I become so famous that I can't handle the pressure and I just like have to go to a secluded island and live by myself? Like, what if people point their finger at me and say it's your fault? What if I get blamed for being the one that breaks up a family? Or
so how about this? What if
break up the family?
That stuff doesn't happen.
Then that's great.
Right? I mean, no, it's so easy to get to, all turned into the what ifs. Like, okay, well, let's if you want to throw some what ifs in, let's throw the other side of it. What if that stuff doesn't? So what I'm finding interesting though with your energy and this topic is that, you were talking and you were addressing him just now. You know, why did you do this? And these are things that you've probably been wanting to say to him out loud. Is there anything else? I mean, what else would you want to say to this person?
No, really and truly, you almost fucked my life up. But I didn't allow you to. Mm-hmm. And I don't know where I got the strength. I mean, I know where I got the strength.
Right.
Oof. Guys, this is like giving me a knot in my stomach. It's the root. I've been spending a lot of time in my garden. I've been gardening a lot. That's my peaceful place. That's where I talk to my Granny Smith.
Yes.
That's where I talk to my mother.
Hey, Granny Smith, like Granny Smith apple. Sorry.
No, you know what? Don't even.
Sorry, Granny Smith. Look now, don't come to my house with me, Granny Smith.
Oh, Granny comes. She's a white butterfly that flies around me every time I'm out there.
Okay, Granny Smith. Sorry.
She was a great lady, man. She's a great lady. She too found it very hard to believe any of the stuff that was going on. After, that's a whole different story. But what would I say to him?
Yeah, I think this is the perfect time.
I would say to him, I don't know what it is that made you do that to a young child, especially someone that was like family. But whatever demons you have or had, I pray for you that you face them, that they're gone, that you're healed, and that you somehow find peace. Because if you haven't forgiven yourself, you'll never have peace. Mm-hmm. And maybe some part of me will let you know by seeing me or talking to me or whatever, let you know that you didn't break me. Mm-hmm. If anything, yes, I may have developed fear and had that be the lead in my life for decades. But in thinking back, you may have been my strength.
Wow.
That may have been the catalyst that taught me about forgiving. That taught me about when bad things happen, you pick up your bootstraps and you just keep going. Maybe I didn't do it in the right order because, as a little kid, you don't know how to, let's discuss this.
There is no
let's
right
go to therapy
order.
And talk about this,
Well, it's 7 years old. Come on now.
But
there is no right order. There's your order, right? This is your story. This is your recipe. These are your ingredients. There are no two that are the same. None. And I've really been thinking about it. It's just, as much as I don't even hate them. Okay.
I don't hate them.
That's good.
Who am I to hate a person that's, I don't know, if ill, that has self-hate? I can't hate that person. They already hate themselves. The only thing I could do is say, I forgive you so that I could have peace of mind. I never even thought that I didn't forgive him until honestly today when we're talking, but in looking back and talking about it, he may have in a really odd and disgusting, filthy way helped me to get my strength, helped to define my strength, my power, and not even realizing that incident is what gave me the strength to get through the things that happened to me as I was older. When I was a teenager, in elementary school.
Yeah.
It was my
Your relationships.
My relationships, everything.
Wow.
That strength, I had to walk away from a 20-year marriage. Somebody that's may not have been physically abusive until the end when he tried to kill me, but that's another story.
That's another story. Good Lord.
Oh, did I just say that out loud too?
You did, but I mean, it's all right. But you know what, though? But look, the fact that you felt comfortable to release that, because here's the deal. I don't know how many people you've shared all this stuff with, but I mean, this is huge. It sounds like this is coming out, not like a new thought, but it sounds like you are releasing it. Like even watching your body language now, now that you've come to that thought about, that being that point that possibly strengthened you, as dirty as it feels and sounds, this is something that led you to be the person that you are today. What do you think about that? I mean, how does that feel for you, thinking that way?
It feels oddly good. It's odd.
Okay.
You know, it's such an odd thought. But just honestly, just sitting here is just like, you know, in a perfect world, you would have had that party. You would have been really the little princess. Then you came to America. You lived your princess life. And then, you know, fast forward to getting a divorce. You wouldn't know how to act.
Oh.
You wouldn't know how to put a line in the sand and say, this is enough.
Okay.
You wouldn't have the strength to say, this bad behavior is intolerable. You know, drug addiction is not something that you can live with. You know, basically giving up your house to someone and say, okay, until you move out, I'm not paying the mortgage, knowing that it would fuck your credit up,
Right.
Screw everything up. Excuse my language.
Hey, I was only supposed to be cussing this time.
That's true.
That's okay.
But it's just, I discovered strengths I had that I didn't know I had.
Yeah.
And so for that, I'm not going to say thank you to him, but I'm going to say thank you to the Lord.
Hey.
For showing me that light. Because it was definitely a light I didn't see before or even think about from that perspective. That this is something that has really pushed you into an environment of, oh, this is really your survival.
So you retooled it a little bit, right? You repurposed that situation.
I made my lemonade.
You sure did.
I made my lemonade. I had to. And in doing this podcast, in exhaling, I honestly learned how to breathe again. And this is something that I'm going to share with you guys. And I'm going to start taking my back to yoga, because they really teach you how to breathe in yoga.
Breathe it in and breathe it out.
Yeah, it's so, I feel like I keep, whenever I breathe, I feel like my stomach just loosens. I mean, then it becomes jelly. It's like I can shape my belly. I love my belly. No, but it's just liberating. It's liberating.
Look, I'm sure people can hear it, but I can see it. From 15 minutes ago, just looking at you. I mean, you know, we were laughing and joking, but when you went deep, I mean, it really hurt and it stung. And like looking at you now, talking about it, like you're smiling because you feel strengthened, and even your posture has changed a little bit. So what would you say you learned about yourself in this conversation?
I honestly learned that, I don't know, I shouldn't say I don't know, I know why now. Why that 7-year-old party has always been part of my life. Why I always talked about it and talked about it and talked about it. But it was the chiffon dress, the green chiffon dress. That's what I talked about. The birthday party, my parents came back from America and threw me a birthday party.
Right.
You know, and I've always kept a positive spin to things. I've always tried to be positive. I always try to see the light when there's dark. And I didn't know where that came from. The eternal optimist. I had no idea where that came from. Yes, I had, my mom was just really super positive, and she used to write shit about Confucius and, you know, Muhammad Ali and Horatio and, you know, just every philosopher in Greek, African, Spanish, whatever, you know, Desmond Tutu, everybody she could talk about that had special quotes, even Shakespeare. We read about it. My mom used to write inspirational messages on the board in our den. And it was drive my sister and I nuts. In the mornings, we'd wake up at 7 o'clock and she had to be at work by 6:30 or 7 in the morning. So this is 6:30 in the morning. She's writing this mess before she goes to work, just to pump us up.
Yeah.
Just to get our day started. And she's just always said, you guys, sometimes we just erase it.
That's foundational stuff.
Yeah, we would just erase it. We're like, we don't want to see this shit. You know,
ungrateful ass kids.
We really were. We really were. We were just like, I don't know what she's doing, but that was what she was doing.
Yeah,
she was building.
She was building that foundation for you.
Building that foundation of strength. Building that foundation of knowledge. Building that foundation of not just spirituality, but just institutional strength and power from deep within, and not let your looks, not let your money be what makes you happy. You make yourself happy. And with my mom passing now, every day the last week I said, God, I wish I could just talk to her about this, about this, about this, about that. Talk to her about this, what I'm doing now, because as I talked before we started recording, I mean, I have my doubts about how people are going to react. How are people going to say? How are they going to feel? Am I going to destroy relationships? And am I going to hurt my family? And from all sides, by talking about this. But the thing you said was, it's my truth.
It is.
It is my truth. It is my truth.
So.
And oh God.
So.
Ooh. And with that truth comes the fact that, whenever somebody has any kind of intimate relations with you, whether they're touching you, kissing you, saying dirty things to you, having sex with you, and you don't want it, it is not your fault.
Not at all.
Even if you are 10, 7, 90, 100, it is not your fault. It is not your fault. It is not your fault. These are adults that are taking advantage of children, boys and girls.
Oh, it goes both ways. It does.
Because bad things happen to little boys too.
Oh, yes.
And we internalize it, and then when we get older, we hear about people going and shooting up their workplace or killing their
somebody.
family. And we're like, nobody knows where it came from. Well,
how did she do that? She was perfectly fine. Yeah. It's all that stuff that's buried down. So
hurting yourself.
Yep.
I'm telling you guys all of this because as I left one situation, I entered another situation that was even more deeply rooted in family. That was even more, I guess, destructive. But it solidified also your fear of rejection, your fear of not being heard, understood, or believed. And when you do finally talk about things that's happened to you, and you have your support system ask, why haven't you said something before? Or why didn't you do anything about it? Or did you enjoy it? Is that why you didn't say anything? That have you thinking you're a bad person. Well, why didn't I say something before? Or why didn't I do this? Or why didn't I do that? Why? Oh, really? Is that why you do that? It messes you up. Because you carry guilt. You carry shame. You carry fear. You carry anger. And those are all intense emotions that as you're growing up, whether you're 7, you're 10, you're 16, or you're 19 or 35, whatever, it goes with you. It goes with you into your relationships with both men and women. It goes with you into your marriage. It goes with you into your children. I had to seek psychological help when I got pregnant with my daughter. I went to a counselor, like, immediately. When I was 4 months pregnant, I'm like, listen, I got to start talking to somebody. Why? Because I was abused as a child. And I want to make sure that I don't do it to my kid.
Wow. So you weren't afraid of other people doing something to your kid. You were afraid of you doing something,
because
or even allowing something to happen?
Yeah. And I'm just like, how do I mean, am I going to turn
So
up?
again, you were taking the responsibility for it.
Like, okay, so I want to make sure I don't do this to somebody, because I don't know if things happen to this person and that's why they did it.
Right.
So I'm like, if something happens to me, then I don't want it to happen to my kid.
Right.
So I have to make sure that I take steps.
Right.
To protect me.
Right.
To protect this person. Because this person is the most important person in my life.
Right.
I lay my life down for you. So I'm not going to be the one to do anything to hurt you.
Mm-hmm.
The thought never entered my head with any of my children, oh, let me do something bad to them. Sometimes I want to beat their ass, but outside of that. But just the nurturing and the mother and the everything that I feel for them, I couldn't even imagine doing anything vicious to them, doing anything that would cause them irreparable mental or physical harm.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So I've always tried to take on and figure out why other people do things. And I always put myself last. And now I'm putting myself first. And I'm scared because it's leading down a road of knowing I have to finally talk. I have to finally get it out. I have to finally vocalize. You know? And it would have been easier doing it in a book. But then I can't sit down and just write like that because, it'll go on and on and on and on and on and on and on. But to vocalize is to hear it. When you hear it, it's easier for me to comprehend and believe. And
it's interesting. Just to show something that came across for me, I read devotionals every day. And this one seems so appropriate. Just this line. I'm not going to read the whole devotion, just the piece of it. And it said, "The beauty of a diamond is best seen set against a black velvet cloth. The beauty of God's grace is also seen in its full glory and brilliance against the darkness of evil."
Wow.
Yeah. So think about it, and why it seemed to resonate with me, just as you were saying the last thing you said about, I'm going to talk about these dark things that happened to me, because like the 7-year-old birthday party was all about la la la, my green beautiful dress. It was all about me. And it's like, now you're like, whoa, wait a minute. There's more to that story that's probably more impactful, and probably someone needs to know. And it's actually had an impact on me subconsciously, right? On you. So the fact is that you're putting out these very touchy, sensitive stories. I mean, it's huge. Again, revealing something that you probably would have never shared, but then you would have been probably suffering with yourself with it, though.
Have been.
You have been. And you'd probably continue to.
Yeah, and it's like I said, it's things that I've just buried, and I started having flashbacks.
So interesting that you're into gardening, though, because now I'm like seeing the relation of it, right? Planting something for something beautiful to bloom.
Just being one with nature and being outside and touching the dirt and feeling the soil and putting it into the ground and nourishing it and pouring water on it and just watering and just watch it grow. And then I see something, nothing. Then, a week goes by. Maybe 2 weeks go by. Next thing I know, overnight, something just sprouts right up underneath from out of the dirt. And it's like, oh, that's life. That's power. To have truly nurture from a seed. Nothing, just from a seed. Nurture it and baby it. And it comes into this big, beautiful plant and then flowers it fascinates me. It makes me, it gives me such a, I'm going to say power, but it's strength and happiness.
You know, what's interesting is I feel like I watched that happen on this conversation. So if I may,
Okay.
you took that incident at 7 years old. You held it. You looked at it. You took it and put it in the ground and like did all the plant things to make it sprout and grow. Yeah, this is this ugly looking seed, because seeds don't look all that great. Some of them look really nasty, right? They're really ugly.
They're really
so you
ugly.
planted this seed, right? And in this conversation, you watered it and thought about it, and you were like, okay, what is this thing really going to be? And then like within however many minutes, it became, wow, that seed, as ugly and funky as it was the thing that sprouted out. And if you guys know Sandy in person, I made like this big arm gesture, sprouted out, because that's the way she is, like larger than life. But that seed, you uncovered the seed. You uncovered, as ugly and nasty as it is, it's a seed, because I'm sure there's multiple, but it's a seed that was planted that you know, like I said, it blossomed into this big, amazing thing, this strong thing, this smart thing, this bigger than life thing, this thing that cares for everything and everybody, this tree that's covering and giving everybody shade. I watched that. And you naturally love planting. Naturally, like that's, you said that's your happy place. And like I said, when you describe what you describe, I imagine and I could see the conversation going that way too. Sorry, I get a little crazy, but that's
you said something that was just so impactful just now. Giving everybody shade.
I do that every once in a while.
You do. I don't care what anybody says.
Forget about it.
I try to shelter everybody and shade everybody. Yeah.
No, really? Do you? Huh.
I can't help it. You know, it's that seed. But I really and truly, you guys made a discovery with me today, honestly. It's... I just really started talking about that particular thing to lead into another subject.
We weren't even supposed to talk about that, I don't think.
And we weren't. And but looking at it and just really talking about it again, I understand truly that may have been the root to my insecurities, my fears, my anger, you know, my lack of peace. So I always am looking for peace. I'm looking for peace, looking for happiness, looking for
traveling
peace,
the world,
looking for peace, looking for happiness. I travel to go find peace and happiness, right?
And you build your house in the space for peace, like it's all intentional.
Yes, it really is.
I know. She has the little, what is this aromatherapy stuff going on? What is all this stuff in the background? I'm like,
this is my essential oils.
I'm
Forget
like,
you.
If I smoke, that pull out something. Like, am I supposed to be in here like smoking or something? No.
But
essential oils.
My essential oils, yes, just like my good water.
Okay.
But I never really thought about that incident being what's really was so etched in the subconscious mind. And this whole entire session today has probably been the biggest breakthrough for me. They've all been very impactful and has all touched different sides of my life. But this one today really helped me to open my mind's eye, really open up my mind and realize that wasn't a little thing. That was, and I always knew it wasn't a little thing. I always knew it was a big thing, but I didn't really know that was the thing that really drove me for all these years. That really put me in a place of vulnerability and put me in a place of living in fear or feeling inferior or, you know, what did I do? I had a friend, she asked me, I asked her, are you mad at me twice in one day? And I didn't even realize I did. One of them I was just like messing with her, but then the other one I wasn't. And she said, you know, you've never done anything to make me upset. We bullshit and we hang out and we talk, you know, shit about each other, but You've never done anything to make me angry at you. Why would you ask me that twice in one day? What are you going through? And I was like, bitch, what are you trying to say?
Wow. But again, that means it wasn't her. It was you, right?
Yeah. And I
so you had this story you was building in your head.
Yeah. And I find myself doing that. Everybody, Trina.
Yeah.
She sent me a thank you note for something I did for her. And I called her or wrote her and said, oh, thank you so much for the thank you note. She's like, you're not supposed to thank me for the thank you note.
Who does that?
Like, who does that? You. And I was just like, but it was just a nice thing because she's so good about writing.
Very good at that.
She puts it in a mail. She puts a stamp on it. I keep them too.
And she does it in her handwriting. I keep them.
I keep them too.
So Trina, if you're listening, I kept all of your thank you notes.
I keep them too. And as you and she can see the picture over there of her family. The kids are like, Mom, you have nobody's family picture, but not even ours.
I know.
I'm like, but Trina's.
Shout out to Trina.
But this has really been. I'm kind of okay now about talking about the things that's going to be going forth.
Okay. So how can you keep this alive? How can you keep this feeling that you have alive?
I'm going to have to go back to remembering and this moment where I'm like, nobody can steal your joy unless you let them. You know, nobody has control over your life but the Almighty God and yourself to some extent. But when you're not able to speak for yourself or react for yourself or defend yourself because you're a child, it's not something that's your reaction, the way you do things, the way you learn. It's not your fault. Not really. I'm not gonna say it's not really your fault. It's not your fault.
It's not your fault.
And so you having to train yourself to know guilt isn't something that should be associated with you unless you're guilty of something. You know, anger is something that's easy to manifest. It's easy to live with because it just, it's just an excuse for bad behavior. But true forgiveness, truly repenting, truly accepting that your peace of mind isn't dependent on anybody else but yourself. That's liberating.
Good.
And all these years that I was just like, I'm like, why am I scared of this person? Why am I afraid to do this? Why am I afraid to do that? Why am I allowing people, even clients, to walk all over me? Why am I allowing people to not pay me? Why am I chasing people down for money for work I've done 6 months ago? I let a lot of it go. I let a lot of it go. And as I let things go, I always say, this person be back or they're going to need me one day. And the next time I'm going to be in the place of power.
Right.
And God is my witness. I don't know how many times that's happened. And I was never, well, you did this to me, so I'm not going to get you a job or I'm not going to make it. Never. I was just like, worked with the person before. I prefer not to work with them again, but they did a good job. End of story. I'm not going to say anything else, but I'm not working with you. I don't want you in my space because you're negative.
Okay.
So removing negativity from my heart, from my surroundings, friends, family, home, it's okay.
Yes. Completely.
Because we have negative people in our family that it's okay if I see you at Thanksgiving and Christmas. You don't have to come to my house and I don't have to come to yours.
Boundaries.
You may love them, but...
Yeah, love them from a distance. I'll see you at the next dinner. Yeah.
Yeah. That wasn't me.
You tried to show up at everything and be there and have people over.
I'm like, okay, you need to invite so-and-so. It's not nice because blah, 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 blah.
Well, we could probably talk about that later then because I think that may be an interesting conversation.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
All right.
But the next episode, it's going to be kind of hard. And I'm going in a direction of, so this happened, and then you get a little older, you start going through puberty, and then you start becoming attractive to men when you don't even see yourself as attractive with zits and, fat legs and big butt, But I didn't know that it's the tiny waistline, tiny boobs, and you know, the legs were attractive. No clue. You know, but grown men thought it was attractive.
Well, I look forward to seeing you take that on and head on, face it, and release it like you did today.
Yeah. Today was really good. I thank you for your friendship.
Thank you for trusting me.
For trust. Yeah, I do.
Well, we're telling the world all this stuff, but you trust me at least.
Yes. Because you have to sit here and hear me.
Yes.
Okay, Sandy, we're going to take this one at a time.
One at a time.
You're just very peaceful. You're very good at what you do.
Thank you very much.
And guys out there, I'm trying to keep it very, very. It's a heavy topic for me. It's just for all of us actually, but it's just talking about sexual abuse, rape.
Yeah.
It's just so hard, you know. And when I hear about people in politics, whether it's your president, whether it's your governor, whether it's your next door neighbor, whether it's an athlete, whoever, people in power. You know, we hear people say, well, this couldn't have happened, or this person is such a great person. Well, great people do bad things.
They do. Okay.
You know, so, and it's not, you can't blame it on the alcohol. You can't blame it on the drugs. You can't blame it on the
Can't blame it on the
weed.
goose.
You
Because
can't
the
blame
goose
it.
got you loose.
Yeah, right? You can't blame it on nobody but yourself. So we'll be talking again.
All righty. Looking
next
forward
week,
to
and,
it.
I want everybody to have a great week.
On purpose.
On purpose. Make it your purpose to have a good time.
Yeah.
I am. I'm going to the beach for a few days.
Cool. I'm going to get some sleep.
Oh. Sleep is overrated.
It's not. It's underrated. So, until
I love you
next
guys.
time, bye.
Bye.